What if the map you followed for decades was wrong? What if everything you were taught to chase, titles, security, applause, comfort, was nothing but gold-dusted sand? And now here you stand, over 30, more aware, less certain. The career doesn't fulfill, the habits feel hollow, the fire has cooled to embers. Your 20s are gone, and with them, your margin for error. Now you hunger not for noise but for meaning. You crave direction, not distraction. But in the silence, a question haunts you. Is it too late? The Stoics would laugh softly, not with mockery, but recognition. Because they knew, true life begins the moment you realize your former one was an illusion. The real path does not start when you are confident. It starts when you are lost. If you subscribe and watch this video until the end, you will not receive optimism. You will receive something more ancient and more useful, a code, forged by emperors, generals, rebels, and exiles. These are the 10 Stoic rules for success in every sphere of life. For those over 30 and feeling lost. This is for anyone who feels the weight of time and the hunger for transformation. Rule number 1. Stop worshiping the timeline. Don't waste what remains of your life in speculating about your neighbors. It is not your actions which are impeded, but your judgment of them. Marcus Aurelius. The modern world gives you a map. Married by 30, wealthy by 35, retired by 50. But the Stoic sees this for what it is, a mirage. Angela Merkel became Chancellor of Germany at 51. Colonel Sanders started KFC at 65. Julius Caesar didn't claim power until 40 and reshaped history. Your timeline is not late. It is irrelevant. The only calendar that matters is your character. Tear down the ticking clock in your mind. Replace it with a mirror. Who are you becoming? How are you living? Not when, but how. This is the beginning of true time. Rule number 2. Build a fortress within. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. You've spent years constructing things outside yourself. Status, titles, connections. But they are castles built on sand if your mind is a ruin. Microsoft runs on structure. Apple runs on vision. You must run on discipline. The Stoic wakes early not to impress, but to sharpen. He journals not for trend, but for truth. He says no to what weakens, even when it's disguised as success. If the world collapses around him, he stands. Why? Because he is already fortified within. No empire can survive without internal order. You are no different. Your success must begin in the mirror, and that reflection must become unshakable. You've crossed the threshold, you've burned the map, stepped into the unknown. Now the real work begins. But don't expect applause. Don't wait for rescue. You must become the blacksmith of your own spirit, swinging the hammer of daily discipline against the raw iron of your soul. You will be misunderstood, you will walk alone, you will question yourself. But if you persist, something rare will emerge. A man the world no longer controls. A man the world begins to follow. Rule number 3. Choose the difficult path on purpose. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Epictetus. Every day offers 2 roads, one smooth and padded with comfort, the other jagged, quiet, uphill. You've been told to avoid pain, to seek ease, to make life balance. But the Stoic rejects that lie, because comfort decays, discomfort sharpens. Napoleon was mocked as a Corsican outsider until he led empires. Barack Obama lost multiple races before rising to the presidency. Tesla nearly collapsed in its infancy. Elon Musk faced bankruptcy, ridicule, and failure, but he walked toward difficulty, not away from it. That's how legends are made. Take the job others avoid. Speak the truth that costs you approval. Study when it's easier to scroll. Suffer now, not to be seen but to be transformed. When you deliberately seek hardship, it cannot defeat you. It becomes your sharpening stone. Rule number 4. Master your vices before they master you. No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. Seneca. You think your career is stalled because of luck. You think your failure is external, but often it is internal rot that derails the climb. Addiction to comfort, addiction to distraction, addiction to attention. You whisper, "I'll stop tomorrow," as years vanish into habit. But the Stoic knows, what you tolerate will become your executioner. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." So look at your vices. Name them. Starve them. Build systems that eliminate them before willpower breaks. Jeff Bezos didn't build Amazon with dopamine hits. He did it by saying no, relentlessly, repeatedly. Self-control is not denial. It is self-respect. Conquer your impulses or be ruled by them forever. Rule number 5. Serve the world, not your ego. Just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. Marcus Aurelius. You want meaning? Then stop performing and start contributing. Every platform demands a brand, but the Stoic builds a legacy. They do not shout, they solve. They do not seek praise, they serve with precision. Disney didn't endure because of algorithms, but because of timeless stories that healed. Gandhi didn't tweet revolutions, he walked them. Nelson Mandela didn't seek applause, he sacrificed decades in silence to earn the world's ear. Do not build to impress, build to last. Solve problems others ignore. Add value others can't. Do what must be done, quietly, masterfully, unshakably. And the world, eventually, will come knocking. But by then, you won't need it, because you will already know who you are. If you feel this fire, if these words strike a hidden chord within, subscribe. Not for more content, but for more code. Because the next 5 Stoic rules are not for the curious. They are for the committed. By now, the noise has faded. What remains is silence. And it's in this silence that most men break. Because here, there is no applause, no external reward, only your conscience. Only your inner fire. And it's here that the Stoic sharpens himself into something the world cannot move. A presence that can walk through fire, rejection, exile, and remain whole. You are not building a career anymore. You are building an unbreakable soul. Rule number 6. Make peace with being the villain. If you live in harmony with nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to what others think, you will never be rich. Seneca. Do you want to succeed? Then understand this. Someone will hate you for it. You will be misunderstood, criticized, mocked by those who lack the courage to do what you're doing. You will be the villain in someone else's story, simply because you chose truth over comfort. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." And though fear is not the Stoic's aim, courage is. Barack Obama was told he was too inexperienced. Angela Merkel was dismissed for her quietness. Mandela was labeled a terrorist. The world loves martyrs until they rise. So be hated if you must. Just make sure it's for something noble. Success demands betrayal, not of your morals but of your need to please. Let the storm rage. You are the mountain now. Rule number 7. Own nothing that owns you. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus. By 30, many are shackled, not by chains, but by comforts disguised as progress. The lease, the subscription, the relationship built on fear of loneliness, the job that suffocates your purpose but funds your lifestyle. You are not free if you can't walk away. Apple killed the iPod when it no longer served their evolution. Netflix abandoned DVDs to go digital. They let go of their past, even when it paid well. You must too. Sell the car if it weakens your spirit. Leave the title if it chains your tongue. Burn the image others expect if it costs your soul. Minimalism isn't aesthetic, it's armor. Carry only what fuels your mission. Everything else is dead weight. Rule number 8. Accept that no one is coming. Man is affected not by events, but by the view he takes of them. Epictetus. The world will not hand you anything, not clarity, not peace, not direction. The Stoic knows this. That's why he stops waiting. No mentor will appear out of nowhere. No perfect opportunity will arrive neatly wrapped. You must become your own savior. Study deeply, act decisively, fall and rise and fall again, without permission. Theodore Roosevelt suffered from asthma and loss, and still became the embodiment of grit. Zelensky was a comedian, until his people needed a lion. There is no cavalry, there is only the man in the mirror, and what he dares to become. This rule breaks the weak, and liberates the strong. The weak wait to be rescued. The brave learn to fight. But the Stoic? He walks alone into the wilderness. He fights not for applause, not for profit, but for the man he is becoming. And when others flee the fire, the Stoic enters it, because he knows what burns away is not needed. What survives is who you are. Rule number 9. Stop romanticizing rock bottom. To love only what happens, what was destined, no greater harmony. Marcus Aurelius. You hear it everywhere. Rock bottom builds character. But rock bottom does nothing unless you rise. Pain is not a virtue. Struggle is not a strategy. The Stoic does not wear misery as identity. He endures it only long enough to extract the lesson, and then he climbs. Winston Churchill faced political exile. He did not glorify it. He used it. He studied. He sharpened. He prepared. And when the world needed steel, he was the blade. Your suffering is not your story. It is your sharpening. But only if you stop admiring the ashes and begin building from them. Rule number 10. Die before you die. Let each thing you would do, say or intend, be like that of a dying person. Marcus Aurelius, the final Stoic rule is the most brutal and the most liberating. You must die, not in body but in attachment, to your past, to your comfort, to your image, Let the old you be buried, fully, completely, without mourning. Because the Stoic knows, real life begins when you no longer fear death. When you no longer seek praise, when you no longer chase what rots, you become dangerous, you become free. Cleopatra ruled empires but was not ruled by time. Napoleon was exiled but plotted rebirth. Every great figure you admire, they died and were reborn. Now it is your turn. Close the chapter with fire, and rise from it, eternal. Now you know, there is no secret, there is only the way. And you are no longer the man who wandered into this video by accident. You are someone else now. Not because of what you heard, but because of what you're about to do. So ask yourself, which rule struck you like thunder? Which one will you carry into tomorrow? Drop it in the comment section. Declare it. Etch it into the stone of your life. And if your soul still burns, then you are ready for the next teaching, the next trial, the next storm. Watch the next video. Subscribe not because you need more noise, but because what we create here is not content. It is a code. And once it's in you, you do not drift anymore. You do not beg for direction. You become it. Unbroken, unmoved, unshakable, stoic.